공공장소 매너 함께 지켜주실 거죠? 공익광고협의회.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
Teachers' Day was yesterday, as we all know, but it fell on the same day as Buddha's birthday this year, so students didn't actually get to see their teachers on the day of. Ironically, however, teachers enjoyed that Teachers' Day fell this year on what we call a red day, a public holiday, as this day of appreciation has become somewhat of a burden in the past few years. On top of this, we have the ongoing struggle for teachers' rights. It is a sad state of things that leaving teachers alone has become the best way to celebrate their work, their hard work. And that's something that we have to continue working on beyond May 15th. I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Thursday, May 16th on BEFM, 부산영어방송. Good morning, Wavers. I hope you enjoyed the day off yesterday. If your work allowed you to do so. Teachers' Day fell on the 15th yesterday, but as it was a holiday, a lot of schools had their celebrations the day before, and some maybe even today. But actually, the scale of these celebrations has been getting smaller and smaller on account of the anti-graft law as well as the changing perception and status of teachers. In fact, teachers don't often feel celebrated or even respected, according to a survey by the Busan Teachers Union. Some 64% of Busan teachers responded that they've considered changing or actually quitting their job in the past year, leaving only about 21% saying that they are satisfied with being a teacher in the current state. And this is after the parliament passed the 4 bills on restoring teachers' authority, which give teachers a right to direct students without being accused of perpetrating child abuse. However, only 3.8% felt that this bill improved their working conditions. With the environment being what it is, teachers, they feel concerned and intimidated in their own classrooms, and that actually hinders them from doing their best to teach and guide the students. So, although Teachers' Day has come and gone, there are definitely many things to do to make it the right environment, a comfortable environment for teachers to do their job. And ultimately, I think that does affect the students. If the teachers feel comfortable and they're getting the proper respect, it trickles down to the students as well. All right, switching gears for a text topic, we're going to talk about names later on in our program. So, Korean listeners, those of you here in Korea, if you're Korean, do you have an English name? Or maybe you have one in mind, but, haven't really used it. Or what would you like it to be? For our global listeners, do you have a Korean name? Or maybe have thought of, if I had to choose a Korean name, this would be it. 자, 여러분은 영어 이름 있으신가요? 그리고 나는 내 영어 이름 이렇게 짓고 싶다 하는 이름은? 항상 이 이름이 참 예쁘다. 근데 이런 분들 많을 것 같아요. Even my students, they say, 이 이름 쓰고 싶은데도 조금 부끄럽다. 아니면 부담스럽다. However, I'm here as your personal 장명소. If you want me to choose a good English name for you, let me know. I will do so. And definitely send in your messages to BEFM's live stream, live chat on YouTube. Also, pound 9050, that's going to cost you 101. You can reach me for free on Kakao Talk. You can listen to us different ways. Once again, the YouTube Live. We are live streaming as we speak. You can watch again on that platform at your convenience. We also have the Patbang app. Looking ahead to our morning together, we have Olivia with Beyond the Headlines. We have Haeyeon for City Insights. And we have two special interviews planned for hour number 2. First up, we're going to speak to our resident expert regarding Donald Trump's claims about South Korea. And yesterday we mentioned it briefly. I even got slightly upset at the fact that, maybe facts are not being told. So we're going to go over this with Professor Kim Byung-ju. That's coming up in hour number 2. And also, have you heard about this anti-aging rice? I'm talking about 저속 노화밥. It's apparently very trendy, but is it really anti-aging? How healthy is it? Is it healthier than other types of rice? We're going to find out in hour number 2. So for the time being, I'll be back with today's headlines. It is now 7:05. This is today's headlines. President meets 조국 for the first time in 5 years. President Yoon Suk-yeol had his first public encounter with Minority Party leader 조국 yesterday at a celebration of Buddha's birthday in Seoul. Government to review special counsel bill into Marine's death report. Prime Minister Han Duck-soo said the administration will carefully review the bill, proposing a special counsel probe into the government's handling of the death of a young Marine last year. HYBE and 5 other groups added to 재벌 watch list. The Fair Trade Commission, or FTC, has added 6 more business groups to the list of conglomerates subject to tighter supervision, including HYBE, the first entertainment group to be added to the list. Thailand seeks extradition of South Korean suspect in Pattaya murder. Thai authorities are seeking extradition of one of the 3 suspects of an alleged murder of a Korean tourist in Pattaya. Slovakia's prime minister shot in assassination attempt. Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico is in a life-threatening condition and undergoing surgery after he was shot 5 times in a politically motivated assassination attempt. These are today's headlines. It's time to check in with Haley for Busan Updates. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, so everybody knows you as Haley.
They do indeed.
Yes. So we're talking about Korean names, English names. So why don't you tell our listeners
what's in my name?
Yes.
So my Korean name is Haeyeon, and then I actually used my Korean name in the States.
Yes.
But Haley was my coffee shop name actually, because and then I divided my name up in the States because you need a middle name, so I just split it. So Hae was my first name and Un was my middle name, and then it got pronounced like Hey. So I was like, oh, whatever, fine. So I just introduced myself like I'm Hey, like hey. That was my byline. But then you go to the certain coffee shop where they refuse to give you like the vibrating the bell, the buzzer. So they were like, "What's your name?" And I'm like, Hey, K. Hey, May, hey, Jay, and I was like, it's Haley. It's Haley. It's what it is.
Leave it at Haley.
And then
And what does it mean? The he, ja,
so because in Korean you have like the different Chinese characters mostly. So he is I got it from my older sister because we have the 돌림자.
Yes.
So it's 지혜해, it's wisdom. And then my parents did go to a 장명소, a naming expert who does consider things like your fortunes, like your 4 pillars of fortunes and whatever.
Yes.
And apparently I'm lacking in water. This is why I'm still not flexible. So they added a water element to my name, and then 은 is like 물소리 은. It literally 은 is like the tickling of a babbling brook. Yeah.
The babbling brook.
Yeah. So it's like the sound of water. Hence
Lots of talking.
Yes, exactly. So I babble
Yes.
all the time.
They say,
I did
the
live up to
name.
my name.
Right,
so
right.
Well worth it.
All right. Well, let's get into our Busan updates first. We're going to go over to Busan City Hall, which is going through an organizational overhaul, right?
That's right. So according to the city of Busan, it's carrying out this large-scale organizational reform in commemoration of the 3rd anniversary of Mayor Park Hyung-jun's term. So the city made a pre-announcement of the changes to the ordinance in its administrative organizations. So the key in this reform is to create a global hub city, Busan, based on the last 3 years of change and create a blueprint for the future of the city, especially focusing on immigration, multicultural families, and the declining population.
Yes. So what changes will there be?
Right. So specifically, the biggest change we'll see up front is the current. So we have 2 vice mayoral systems, the vice mayor for economic affairs and the vice mayor for administrative affairs. Well, this office, the vice mayor for economic affairs, will actually be changed and renamed to the vice mayor for future innovation. And he or she will be in charge of mid to long-term plans in the fields of urban planning, transportation, the new airport, and the Triport project. And then in return, the vice mayor for administrative affairs actually now gets a larger responsibility, tasked with the usual administrative affairs as well as the livelihood and economic issues. And then in terms of new departments that will be created, we're looking at a future designs department, which will encompass city branding, public designs, as well as corporate designs for local firms.
Yes.
And also for the environment, the Nakdong River Future Planning Department that'll be in charge of parks, smart cities, and basically over the general policy planning for the river.
Yes.
And there will be a new official in charge of population who will be tasked with helping expats who come into Busan get settled for international students or immigrants, as well as multicultural families. And that bill will be submitted to the City Council on the 24th of this month.
I see. Well, thanks for letting us know about the changes going on at City Hall. All right, next up, let's talk about construction for the Busan 롯데타워, which finally broke ground last year after years of waiting. But the corporation apparently they're going to file. They're going to file for a change in plans. What's going on?
Right. So Lotte Shopping, which is the developer behind the incoming 롯데타워, they're going to submit a construction change application to Busan City sometime next month for their licensing request. So apparently the new plans are nothing to the facade, but the new plans include a 5-star hotel and office spaces to be built into the midsection of the tower, which apparently had been left empty in the original plans.
Right.
So Lotte's aim is to turn this tower into a local landmark for tourism and commercial functions. The problem, however, is with the timeline, which has always been the case for the past 2 decades. So Lotte Group says that it'll submit the plans sometime next month, but actually, apparently, there's no deadline for the changes. So that means potentially the process could be delayed again, which has unfortunately been the case ever since the group purchased this plot of land from Busan City back in the year 2000.
Right.
So given the past history of the changes, there is quite a bit of skepticism. So those from the city council, they call for Busan City to really actively monitor and really be on top of them, and also for Lotte to really live up to its promises this time.
That's right. Well, it's such a long time coming. I guess we're going to have to be a little more patient. Moving on, though, the Busan Content Market is opening soon.
It is. So the 18th Busan Contents Market, or the BCM, starts May 22nd under the slogan Global Media Contents Hub City Busan, and that'll be at Bexco through May 24th. So this is an event that's hosted by the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism and the city of Busan, and it'll feature 1,000 media and video industry insiders across 50 countries, and they sell their contents across broadcasting, animation, webtoons, games, and videos and creations. So in the past 3 years, this market has recorded over $100 million in sales every single year. And this acts as a window to really spread Hallyu, the Korean wave, on the backs of this global trend. So this year, there will be a BCM conference, which will focus on analyzing world-famous K-dramas. So guests at the conference include producers for the 재벌 and 형사, or Flex X times Cop.
Yes.
And on the next day, producers from the HBO drama The Sympathizers, one of which is famous director Park Chan-wook. He will not be there, but that is the project that he's associated with.
Right.
And also because it is the times, they will focus on the OTT streaming dramas, AI technology, and whatnot in the content sector.
All right. So once again, that is BCM that's coming up real soon. Finally, let's talk about this. Beach season, if you can believe, is fast approaching, and Suyong District is buffing up security along Gwangan Beach.
It does not feel like it because it is a chilly, kind of cloudy morning.
Yes.
But according to Suyong District, it has installed these high-tech CCTVs that have 55 times the zoom capacity. And there are 13 along Gwangan Beach and 3 in the waterfront park. So previously, the issue was there were only 4 cameras that were spaced about 200 meters apart, and that created blind spots, and it was kind of hard to get a clear picture if the subject was far away. However, the new cameras apparently give about 500 meters of sight and even has infrared function, so it'll function much better in the nighttime. So an official from the district said that this will be effective in crime prevention and also protection of public and private property.
Yes, yes. So thank you for all the updates, Haley. And let's go back to you, the listeners. We are talking about names today, whether it be Korean names or English names. So if you could choose your English name, if you don't have one already, what would it be? And vice versa, for our global listeners, if you don't have a Korean name, maybe you've thought of one, heard of one. Today, we're going to play MWB, Morning Wave in Busan, 명소, because I am getting requests, several requests, to name you all. I'm so excited. I can't wait for the song break because I'm going to start, jotting down names. Really exciting. And by the way, what is the fee for naming you? Let me think about that. In the meantime, I'll be back. Here's your traffic and weather for now. It is now 7:16 on this Thursday morning. There is some backup on the Dongso overpass from the Hwangyong interchange to the old Gaegeum tollgate. It's looking slow on Gwanmun-daero from Pangnam Tunnel to Baekyang Tunnel. Also congestion on Nakdong-Namlo from Hadan intersection to Hagwon Bridge. As for the weather, it is 12 degrees Celsius under cloudy skies. You'll feel it as soon as you head out this morning. It's much chillier than yesterday. However, the sun is expected to peak out in the afternoon with daytime highs going up to 23. So you're going to have a combination of, maybe some thin layers and also sunscreen. And in another part of the country, northern Gangwon province received rare heavy snow warning yesterday and saw up to 10 centimeters of snow at Mount Seorak with snow forecast through today. And this was your traffic and weather.
Check this out.
This is Morning Wave Busan.
Everybody, wait a minute.
This is Morning Wave.
Morning Wave.
You are listening to
Morning Wave.
Morning Wave in Busan.
What show is this?
This is Morning Wave in Busan.
Here we go. Morning Wave in Busan.
It is now time for News Digest, so Haley's with us once again. First, we're going to talk about the cabinet earlier this week passing special legislation on the Itaewon tragedy. So let's talk about what this bill will do.
Right, so this bill has been a long time coming. It was passed unilaterally initially by the Democratic Party in January of this week. It was back then vetoed by the president. It was reintroduced under a bipartisan support earlier this month under an amended version. So that comes a year and 7 months after the October 29th tragedy that claimed 150 59 lives. So this amended legislation, it centers on the formation of a special commission to reinvestigate the disaster and the responses to the disaster. And that's based on the revised plans that were agreed by the two parties. And the committee is to consist of 9 members based on bipartisan discussions, including 1 member who will be nominated by the National Assembly Speaker and 4 each by the ruling and opposition parties respectively. So the original version, this was one of the changes. It had the total membership of the committee at 11, the Speaker nominating 3 members based on the discussions with family members of the victims and related groups.
Right.
The revised version only states that the membership is to be based on bipartisan discussion. So that can be taken in different ways depending on whom you ask. But anyways, the commission's period of activity, it will be set at 1 year.
Sure.
Although they could allow a one-time extension of up to 3 months depending on the results. So in passing the bill, Prime Minister Han Duck-soo said that he hoped the bill would be an opportunity for the country to overcome this collective pain and step towards becoming a safer nation. And he also promised victim support and other follow-up measures.
Yes, once again, so that's on the special legislation on the Itaewon tragedy. You know, there had been controversy in the last year or so over the victims' memorial, though, in Seoul Square. So what's going to happen on that front?
Right. So that's because the families of the victims and their support group kind of had put up an arbitrary memorial, and they're literally just tents with pictures of victims inside in Seoul Square on February 4th. And that was in part in protest of the stalled discussion over the special legislation. So Seoul City deemed it an unauthorized occupation of public property, and they actually imposed a 29 million won fine, which the families and the support groups paid. The city, however, they had been of the position that the families should take down the structure voluntarily rather than having the city really tear this down. And they therefore suspended action until the special legislation had passed, which it has now. So the city of Seoul now has the momentum to build a separate memorial space and move the current structure. And also some of the families are starting to call for a more permanent structure rather than the temporary one they have now.
I see. Once again, regarding the tragedy of what happened in Itaewon, of course, we should never forget what happened. Next up, though, U.S. President Joe Biden announcing a massive tariff hike on Chinese-made electric vehicles, EVs, and other materials, which obviously prompted a very, we'll call it, heated response from Beijing.
It seems perhaps the beginnings of trade war part 2.
Yes.
So tariffs are essentially taxes on imported goods, and the U.S. will impose 100% tariff on electric cars made in China, as well as solar panels, steel, and semiconductors, and those between 25 and 50%. And this is upon protests from American industries that cheap imports from China, they could flood the U.S. market. And it was in part a political choice for Joe Biden in the election year as he's going off against Donald Trump, who is very, famous for America First protectionist trade policies. So why is this happening is that China's global trade surplus in goods, that it has soared in recent years. It's approaching $1 trillion.
Yes.
And that is bringing up tensions with the United States and Europe. So following this decision from the White House, however, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi issued a very strongly worded response, quote, that these tariffs are a classic example of bullying. And it shows that some people in the U.S. are once again, quote, they have lost their sanity in order to safeguard their unilateral hegemony. And Wang Yi further called on other nations to condemn the tariffs as they can create new troubles in the global market. The Chinese Foreign Ministry also added that the unilateral imposition of tariffs, they violate the World Trade Organization rules, and Beijing urged the U.S. to correct its wrongdoing and warned that it could take resolute measures to defend its rights and interests.
Yes, and how might this round of tariffs affect South Korea? People want to know.
Right. So the chair of the Korean International Trade Association, the KITA, said that it won't work against South Korean firms. So perhaps in the short term to mid-term, it could slightly benefit. But he did add that they would need to monitor the situation, some saying that Korean firms may get some random strokes of luck with opportunities as the tariff fundamentally target Chinese firms. So why this is? Well, the U.S. Trade Representative assessed in a report that was released Tuesday of this week that after the U.S. imposed tariffs against Chinese in the Trump era, there was a slight uptick in purchase of Korean goods. So that's because there was a 13% reduction in Chinese goods and a 6 to 36% increase in imports from other countries, non-China countries, particularly nearly 2% increase in semiconductor imports from Korea and a tiny uptick in imports from miscellaneous electronics equipment and component parts as well as plastic products.
Yes.
However, the thing is, in the long run, these basically whether there's Biden or Trump in the Oval Office, they're both practicing on protectionist trade policies. So in the long term, it doesn't bode quite well for the international market.
Right. So it's not just a U.S.-China thing, definitely. All right, lastly, the issue of tattoos in Korea has come up again this time. This involves eyebrow tattooing.
They do, and this is a first trial by jury in South Korea, which found the defendant guilty in an illegal tattooing case. So the defendant in this case apparently performed eyebrow tattooing using tattooing equipment at an esthetician's office in Daegu and made about 50 million won in profit throughout this person's career. So the point of contention legally in the trial between the prosecution and the defense was whether the act of eyebrow tattooing specifically constitutes a medical act which has risks of harming a person's life or body unless it is performed by a medical professional.
Right.
So the prosecution argued that the defendant has a history of having been penalized for doing eyebrow tattoos at a business that was registered for skin care and skin treatment. And the prosecution also argued that the dye for eyebrow tattoos, because it is illegal technically in Korea, they're not regulated, so they have heavy metal contents that exceed permitted levels. And also the lack of documentation, because these are not like fully taxed activities.
Right.
They also pose risks to public health and sanitation.
Well, what about the defense? What did they say?
Right. So at least in this particular case, the defense argues that there have been no cases of damages from this particular defendant's practices and submitted expert testimony that tattooing doesn't have to be restricted to medical experts, as well as international examples of Korea really being the only major country where tattooing is illegal.
Sure.
And there was also a petition by some 1,000 tattooists siding with the defendant. However, that is the decision of the jury that it should still be restricted to medical experts. So Daegu Regional Court accepted the jury's opinion and sentenced the defendant to 1 year in prison with a 2-year probation and a 1 million won fine.
I see.
However, this really further complicates things because number one, going up to the very top, in 1992, the Supreme Court did make a ruling that said only medical professionals may practice tattoos. But in recent years, because of the changing perception, lower courts, for example, in Cheongju and even here in Busan, have ruled that tattooing or the tattooists that have been charged or not in violation of the law. So the social discussion and also a legal one continues.
I guess. So very interesting, but the law is what it is. Therefore, we should abide by them, I guess, for the time being. Anyhow, thank you so much for all the news. We'll check in with you in hour number 2, Haley.
See you in a bit.
All right. And with that, I'm getting so many requests for naming you all. I'm so excited. So I'll be doing so during our song break right now. This is Step by Step by New Kids on the Block. And I'm going to do them in order. So be patient with me. All right. Here's the song.
Step by step, ooh baby, gonna get to you, girl. Step by step. Just a man. lots of fun. Step 2, there's so much we can do. Step 3, it's just you and me. Step 4, I can give you more. Step 5, don't you know that the time is right? Step by step. Don't you know I need you? Step by step. Yes, I do, girl. Step by step. Ooh, baby, you're always on my mind. Step by step. Ooh, girl, I really think it's just a matter of time. Step by step, girl, baby, gonna get to you, girl. Step by step, ooh, baby, I want you, I need you in my world. Step by step, you, girl. Step by step, oh, girl, really want you in my world. Step by step, ooh, baby, gonna get to you, girl. Step by step.
Welcome back. I was so busy. I'm like sweating up a storm, making up names for all the requests that we've gotten thus far. So I am a busy bee. I'll get to that in just a little bit, but we got to get to our main story. We're talking about Teachers' Day, which has come and gone. It was yesterday. However, the general mood surrounding this day gives us a lot to think about in terms of teachers, their position in society, the reality at schools. And many teachers express relief at not having to go to school and deal with the gifts and worrying about whether that violates the Anti-Graft Act. Upon this, some schools last year decided to self-designate May 15th as a holiday in their respective schools. And specifically, there were 26 schools in Seoul that did this, and others scheduled field trips and other events on this day. Others called for Teachers' Day to be combined with Labor Day on May 1st to give a day off to the teachers. And amid this Hoi Elementary School teacher's death, there were calls to designate the anniversary of her death, September 4th, as a day for teachers' rights. So what's the intent behind Teachers' Day? It's to celebrate teachers, to thank them. But there really is this need to appreciate teachers for the rest of the year, too, in order for that day to really shine. And I feel like, even having that anti-graft law, I know it pertains to teachers, but, the original intent of that law also was to catch, I guess, corrupt civil servants, not just teachers. But I don't know, has it been misconstrued? Because, like I said, I, as an educator, love receiving, handwritten notes and whatnot, and definitely don't, take any gifts or anything like that. But I feel like it's kind of gotten lost in this hubbub of the anti-graft law, the intent behind that. Anyhow, let's get to our text topic because so many of you have chimed in regarding whether you have an English name or not. And, if you don't, if you're an international listener, whether you have a Korean name or not. So, all right. Looking at first request, we have 태진 Club. cat, 무료로 저 영어 이름 장명해주세요. 올드한 이름 말고 트렌디하고 힙한 거요. So I was thinking about this a lot. Okay, so I know what Taejin Club waiver looks like only because he has sent in photos of himself and his family, of course, to our Kakao Talk. So I want to name you Noah, and there's a reason. The name Noah means rest, and I feel that because you're such a good husband and father, and you're so dedicated to your family that you can become a place of rest for those around you. So I'm going to go with Noah. If you don't like it, it's okay. And by the way, what is the fee? Some of you are asking. How about this one? Even though we could charge an arm and a leg, we're going to just charge you. Morning Wave in Busan. Click on like, 좋아요, 댓글, 구독, 알림. That's all we're asking for. I know it's just like so beneath us, so cheap right now, right? Okay, 최윤정 waiver was next. I love the name. Like if I could name myself again, I might use this name. This is one of the top 3. I love the name Emily. Emily means eager. And I feel like Yunjung waiver, you're always eager to listen. You're eager in everything you do, that you are dedicated and eager. So I see you as an Emily. Also, I'm gonna skip around because a Junwon waiver, he had a specific request. He said, "Oh, can I get a name starting with J?" So for you, I see you as I don't know if you'll like it, but I love this name, Jefferson. Jefferson is so stately, and you can also shorten it to Jeff. So those are my 3 choices. Oh, I'm gonna squeeze in one more for now. 도토리. I'm gonna name you your English name. Just go with it, Tori. Because Tori means victory. On the other hand, there's another name. I have 2 for 도토리님. Charlie, Charli. Not Charlie like a guy. Charlie, I love kind of male names for females. It means petite. I don't know. In my mind, for some reason, because you named yourself 도토리님, so I feel like you might be a little petite. Those are my choices for now. I will get to more of your messages in just a little bit, but we got to get to our hot clip. For today's hot clip, I wanted to share a heartwarming story. A set of quintuplets, 5 siblings. They are from New Jersey, and they all graduated from the same college in their home state. Here's a clip from CBS News.
Finally, tonight's Heart of America with a group of siblings in a class of their own.
Well, we definitely missed out on prom, right? Graduation.
The Povolos are making up for lost time with the quintessential graduation.
It's huge. I mean, it's the first in our family.
Born in New Jersey on July 4th, 2002, quintuplets Victoria, Vico, Ashley, Michael, and Marcus have done it all from sharing birthdays to bedrooms.
We know everything about each other.
But they weren't sure they'd share a college education.
Some of us even thought of maybe not going to college or just community.
Refinance the house, ask for loans. We were in that process when the big surprise happened.
Montclair State University pulled through with the big surprise, offering 5 full academic scholarships.
So happy. Our mom was crying instantly as soon as she found out.
Is this a dream come true for you?
Absolutely.
On Monday, 4 years after missing their high school graduation during the pandemic, the Povolos made up for it 5 times over.
Hopefully, med school down the line.
I might eventually go to law school.
Hopefully, by summertime, I have a teaching job.
I want my own business.
I think I'm going to be continuing work my corporate banking job.
I was thinking about this. Can you imagine being the parents attending your kid's graduation? First of all, it's a 5-for-1. You can go to the same graduation. But the happiness of seeing all 5 of your kids succeed and graduate on a full scholarship. So I thought this was an amazing story, and I wanted to share something a little positive because we have so much negativity in the world. This was your hot clip for today.
Stay tuned. You're listening to Morning Wave in Busan.
PD님 저 피곤해요. 바빠요. 장명수 왔는데 너무 힘들어요. Because I want the names that I'm choosing for some of our listeners to be meaningful. Anyhow, hello, Lydia.
Hello. Are we on air right now?
We're on air.
Okay.
she's like looking at me like, what's going on?
Like, are you talking to yourself or what are we doing? Oh, I'm sorry.
Our text topic today is about names. Like what's in a name? Like what does your name mean? If you had to choose an English name for Korean listeners, what would it be for our non-Korean listeners? Like if you had to choose a Korean name, or maybe you want us to name you. I love naming people.
Yeah, you can name me. Go.
No, you're already Lydia. What? Do you have a Korean name?
It's Yubin.
You said it's so like American. Yubin. Hi, I'm Yubin.
Yeah,
that's pretty. What does it mean?
It's you is it's you. And then bin is bin, like shiny.
I texted my mom and she hasn't responded. So I forgot the meaning to the second character of my
What
name.
is your Korean name?
It's 준수하다, but the I forgot what it means.
Oh, that's such a
So I
pretty
texted
name.
her and I emailed my dad in California. Nobody has responded yet, so I'll let you know as soon as I find.
Also pretty.
Yes. All right, so let's dive into our topic for today. What do you have for us?
Well, I also have a question.
Okay.
Raise your hand if you ever purchased anything online because someone else online said that it's a good thing to buy.
Oh, hasn't
Basically,
everybody?
Like an influencer or like
the hand
like a
slowly
shopping
going up.
host. Yes. These people online, they make some of these things look so desirable. For some people, it's hard to resist not falling for it. Everything is just like a one click away nowadays.
Yes.
And today's segment, we are going to talk about how this method of purchasing goods or services is thriving in China, where, when things go viral, it goes viral. Right.
Yes.
So you may or may have not heard about Wong Hong. It in Chinese it translates to internet celebrity. So Wong Hong are online personalities who work with brands to feature their products in post, or they sell them directly to their viewers if they have their own live streaming services or internet shops. So they are basically like influencer. I don't know if you've seen. I've seen people like that in Korea, in Busan. People like walking around with like a camera and there's like a ring light.
Oh yeah.
And they're like talking and they just like sit down and they're like, on the side of the street. Apparently that's like very common in China. But there's more than the fact that they're just influencer. Wong Hong is a very highly lucrative business in China right now. This relatively new booming phenomenon is known as the Wong Hong economy, and it's changing the trade industry. According to data in 2021, global influencer marketing was valued at $21 billion. And that same year in China, it was estimated to be worth about $13 billion in today's currency.
Sure.
And the entire influencer economy in China is expected to grow up to $1 trillion by next year.
Wow. So how does this work? Like, can you explain in detail?
Yeah. Well, typical Wong Hong is like pretty much like any other influencer. They captivate people's attention. They have a large number of loyal followers and fans. And we're talking about somewhere between tens of thousands to even up to millions easily. And these fans are super eager to buy any product being promoted.
Give us an example.
Yeah, so one distinctive Wong Hong style shopping is a live stream session. So this one Wong Hong, Lee Zik-chi, she's a 33-year-old Wong Hong. She once had over 162 million people watching her live session, where she sold products for over 2.8 billion yuan, which is like nearly $390 million. Another streamer named Zhang Shengsheng recently gained attention for her unconventional approach promoting products, which at one point helped her bring in $14 million in a week.
We're talking about like mind-boggling numbers in such a short span of time, right?
Yes. And what makes her stand out right now is that she spends like less than 3 seconds on each product.
Yes.
So unlike most influencers who kind of like go on and on about the details of the products, why this is great, why this is not great, apparently people really like this influencer style because she's effortless, speedy, and efficient. That's what they think. So despite the minimal exposure time, her sales also surge rapidly because when she holds up a product for 3 seconds, she literally holds it up like this and then it's like gone. People have to then decide based on this glimpse of the product whether they're going to buy it or not. So it's almost like people like panic button, like panic buy. Oh my gosh, like I need that.
That I've seen where like they're selling like you know, like just like they literally like hold something up and then it's like something else.
She like holds a broom and then it's that, and then now there's like a watermelon.
Sold out. I mean, it's like insane. Like I don't understand how people can make such a snap decision. Like just like in like sometimes it looks like less than a second. Literally, they're holding something up and then it's like the next item. Like it's a
I mean, she's fast. That's
she's
for
quick.
Sure.
Yes. Do they typically only sell products? What do they sell?
So actually, no. There are different types of Wong Hongs. Some people might call the other Wong Hongs maybe content creators. For example, there is a countryside internet celebrity who has 70 million followers. He uploads videos of his daily routine living in a rural area. So he's like singing, working, collecting vegetables, gathering firewood, going on adventures with his friends. And he's leveraging his popularity to release like a song. Things like that. But I think for a lot of Wong Hongs that do this type of like farming videos, they do sell some sort of like agricultural products.
Yes.
Like they sell mushrooms or like they sell knives or shovels, like tools, things like that. They add those things in there.
Right. And Umberto, who says, oh, by the way, Umberto, I think he said like his English name is Damien. Earlier,
wait,
he says
Umberto is already kind of an English name, isn't it?
Right. it's a Latin X name.
Oh, right. Sorry, Umberto.
Right, Umberto. He's like, I don't think that was the reason why people were watching the 3-second lady.
What? Oh, what? Oh.
That's what he says.
I mean, okay.
She's pretty.
Yeah, she is pretty.
She's attractive.
She's beautiful.
Yes. So that's what he says. All right. So how did this so-called Wong Hong economy, how did it come about though?
Well, I think why Wong Hong economy, why it became such like phenomenon is so much more interesting than the economy itself, actually.
Okay.
So experts say one of the reasons driving this industry is basically just a change in consumer behavior, particularly the fact that people spend less time reading text online, so they prefer visual contents and say live streaming shopping is easier than having to read through all the product descriptions or even like learning about something. But also Wong Hongs develop what some people describe as a quote-unquote interpersonal relationship with their audience. They appeal to their target consumers. That leads to attracting more and more people. They sort of serve as this like trustworthy opinion leaders in online retail.
Yes. So is this kind of becoming a career path that many people might choose? Because I mean, it sounds really lucrative for the ones that are successful, right?
Yes. So as you know, the unemployment rate among young people in China is increasing. Last year, it was about 15%. And apparently, like a lot of, like, I don't know if this is actually a joke, but a lot of people choose to become, quote unquote, full-time children. That's like a thing there because it's so, hard to find a job. There are a lot of, college students that are fresh out of school, but there aren't enough job opportunities to back that up. And new hires are still being offered lower wages. And according to some sources, like PhD students are showing up for job interviews to be like janitors or something.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, getting hired by a company is not so easy right now. And according to the latest survey, over 60% of young Chinese people said that they would consider becoming Wong Hong. And of those 60%, 30% said that there's no question about it. They are going to be Wong Hongs.
Right.
So there are Wong Hong Hagwons that charge a lot of money for courses like 3 months trained for skills needed to become a professional live streamer.
So this is a real thing, like it's hot.
It's like legitimate thing. In 2020, live stream salesperson became an official state-recognized career. Hundreds of universities in China are now offering majors in broadcasting, hosting, internet, new media, so and so.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Like, if you're successful, it's much more lucrative than being like, a regular broadcaster.
Yes.
Right?
So, I mean, it has like earning potential.
Yes.
Like I mentioned earlier, like you can make $14 million possibly.
In a week.
Yeah. So if you, why not like give it a go if there's such like scarcity in jobs, obviously. And you know, in 2023, there were estimated about like 10 million Wong Hongs in China, with a fan base of more than 10,000 followers. And so if the competition, if you stand out, it's a huge thing. But also at the same time, the reality is in 2020, apparently most live streaming hosts had a monthly income of just between about $1,000 to $2,000 US. So that's like the harsh reality. But if you do well, I guess there's another side to that.
Yes.
And additional reason why online streaming products endorsed by these influencers are so popular is that people are willing to trust these products. So have you seen things? Have you seen videos of like things that are made in China that are like really shocking? So like fake products or even like counterfeit food, like fake meat, fake noodles, fake rice, fake eggs. Yeah. They like use like cornstarch and they add like food coloring and then they like sell it as like steak or something.
Oh my gosh.
Like, you crack open an egg and it's not an actual egg, just like a fake shell. Like those things are it's like a legitimate like health threat. But it's been damaging trust within the Chinese society.
Yes.
So when Wong Hongs come in and they say, well, you can trust this product that I'm endorsing, and people really want to believe that.
Yes.
So, for example, this one super famous beauty influencer, he was hired by a Korean company to live stream and sell a Korean coffee, individual drink that you get from 편의점.
Right.
And he sold 200,000 bottles in 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is like also really great example. If foreign countries want to start exporting goods to Chinese consumers, they're going to have to go through Wong Hongs. And that is like basically the future of shopping that we're all going to have to sort of like.
Oh, do we need to hire a Wong Hong PD님 for a program?
Oh, yeah.
No? She says no. We don't need it.
We have a Wong Hong. That's you.
Oh, you're so sweet. Wow, this is so interesting to break it down for us. We've seen them definitely, but didn't know the economy or the logistics behind the Wong Hong. So thank you for explaining.
Yeah, you're probably going to start noticing them more. I think
so too. All right, we're going to call it a wrap. We'll check in with you next week. Thank you, Lydia.
All right, see you next week.
And with that, I'm going to get back to naming some of you. And by the way, 왜 제가 지어줬는데 자꾸 딴 이름들을 선택하고 그러세요? I'm just kidding. No, you can choose whatever name you want. I'll be back after this. This is California Love by Tupac Shakur, requested by Taejun Waver. I named you Noah, but you apparently like Terry. So there you go, Terry. Enjoy.
Everybody to the Wild Wild West, a state that's untouchable like Elliot Ness. The track hits your eardrum like a to your chest, like a vest for you in the city of. We in that sunshine state where the bomb be, the state where you never find a dance floor empty and be on a mission for them. Lean, mean, money making machines, serving fiends. I've been in the game for 10 years making rap tunes. Ever since Honeys was wearing Sassoon, now it's 95 and they clock me and watch me diamond shining, looking like a Rob Liberace. It's all good from Diego to the Bay. Your city is the bomb if your city making pay. Throw up a finger if you feel the same way. Straight putting it down for California, yeah. West Coast. ain't grinding like a slow jam. It's West Side, so you know the road will bow down to no man. Say what you say, but give me that bomb beat from Dre. Let me serenade the streets of LA. From Oakland to Sacktown, the Bay Area and back down. Cali is where they put they Mac down. Give me love. BEFM 부산영어방송.
부산의 축제 어디까지 즐겨보셨나요? 과거와 현재, 미래가 공존하는 항구도시 부산. 이곳 부산은 계절을 물들이는 다양한 축제로 늘 풍성합니다. 봄의 시작을 알리는 봄꽃 축제부터 부산의 여름을 만끽하는 바다축제, 전 세계 영화인들이 모이는 부산국제영화제와 새로운 시작의 해맞이 축제까지. 부산의 축제는 우리의 열정을 가득 담고 있습니다. 바쁜 일상은 잠시 뒤로 하고 특별한 시간을 선물 받는 바로 이곳 부산에서 우리의 삶은 축제가 됩니다. 축제로 하나 되는 부산, 여러분은 어떤 축제를 기다리시나요? 이 캠페인은 대선공익재단과 BFM 부산영어방송이 함께합니다.
혹시 지금 운전 중이신가요? 어린이 교통사고 피해자 수는 지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
Join us at the Busan Cinema Center on May 18th for an unforgettable pop song contest. BFM is excited to present 팝송의 끝을 본 사람들, featuring the talented stars of All-Star English as part of the celebrations of the 19th Busan Global Gathering. Come and be a part of the grand finale at 2:30 p.m. at the outdoor stage, where 7 of the most talented competitors will battle it out for the top prize. But that's not all. You can also enjoy a special performance by R&B star Kim Jo-han, along with me, Minsu, and Campbell Asia, the hosts of All-Star English. Don't miss out on the fun and exciting events for the audience as well. So make sure to mark your calendars for May 18th at 2:30 p.m. and be part of a very special day filled with music, entertainment, and memorable moments at the Busan Cinema Center. See you there!
The time is now 8 o'clock.
It's morning!
And what a lovely morning!
Dynamic Busan.
Good morning!
Good morning!
Good morning!
Good morning.
Hello, Shelly.
What show is this?
Hello!
Hello, baby.
Hey, buddy.
Hello, everybody.
Live from Korea's dynamic city, this is Morning Wave in Busan.
It is now 8 o'clock and this is news highlights. President meets Joguk for the first time in 5 years. President Yoon Suk-yeol had his first public encounter with minor party leader Joguk yesterday at a celebration of Buddha's birthday in Seoul. Those at the event say that Yoon greeted Jo by shaking his hand, but the two did not have a full conversation. The relationship between the two became uncomfortable after Yoon, then Prosecutor General, led an investigation into corruption allegations centering on Cho's wife and his children while Cho was serving as Justice Minister. Cho had been a vocal critic of Yoon since he launched his political career. Government to review special counsel bill in Marine's death report. Prime Minister Han Duck-soo said the administration will carefully review the bill proposing a special counsel probe into the government's handling of the death of a young Marine last year and take necessary measures. Speaking to reporters yesterday, the Prime Minister also addressed the appeal filed by the doctors to suspend the medical school admissions quota hike, saying it would be inappropriate to speculate on the court's decision. Meanwhile, in response to the main opposition Democratic Party's push for universal cash handouts, Han said that the government believes it is necessary to provide support to areas in desperate need. Hybe and 5 other groups added to Chaebol watch list. The Fair Trade Commission, or FTC, has added 6 more business groups to the list of conglomerates subject to tighter supervision, including K-pop powerhouse Hybe. Under South Korean law, conglomerates with assets of 5 trillion won or larger are designated as large corporations required to publicly file details on matters such as inter-affiliate transactions. Hybe is the first entertainment group to be added to the list, along with Paradise Group and Sono International, a reflection of the marked growth of the entertainment, leisure, and tourism industries after the pandemic, said the FTC. Thailand seeks extradition of South Korean suspect in Pattaya murder. Thai authorities are seeking extradition of one of the 3 suspects of an alleged murder of a Korean tourist in Pattaya, according to local experts. The suspect was arrested in Jeonbuk province on Sunday, and Changwon Regional Court issued an arrest warrant to keep him under further custody. Thai police are investigating the murder, in which the body of the 34-year-old victim was found in a cement-filled container in a reservoir in Pattaya. A Bangkok court has also issued arrest warrants for the 3 suspects on charges of abduction and murder. Slovakia's prime minister shot in assassination attempt. Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico is in life-threatening condition and undergoing surgery after he was shot 5 times in a politically motivated assassination attempt. The perpetrator is in custody after the shooting Wednesday in the central Slovakian town of Handlova, according to officials. Local media have said the suspect is a 71-year-old writer and political activist, although those reports have not yet been confirmed. Fico, an ally of Russia, won a 3rd term in October after running a campaign that criticized Western support for Ukraine. This was News Highlights. It's time for Issue Waglwa글. We have Haley back in the studio.
Good morning again.
Yes. So, the naming.
We'll get to it. Coming up.
It is?
Names.
And I just want to add, before you choose any English names, that sounds really good. Look at the meaning.
Especially, and then if they're initials,
like BJ?
Things stand for things.
Yes.
Things
we
you
can't
don't
say
think
what
they
it
do,
is on air.
But yeah, things that will get me fired for saying on it. Yeah.
Yes. And not just that. Like, you know how, like, we can tell, like, for Korean names, like, what's trendier these days?
And definitely what's, like, old-fashioned.
Right. And some of the names that you're choosing as your English names, I just want to say, keep it in mind. Some of the...
Right.
Like,
or look it up on the popular search engine, and then look at the image. I always do that, and then you can see what celebrities, what people
have that name,
right?
And what
and
image
Korean
people have
too, because there's definitely a very notable trend in baby names too.
Yes,
yeah. So
which we're going
we'll
to get to in a
that.
bit.
Yes.
First, a well-known trot singer is under police investigation for a hit and run.
Okay, by the way, I also like the sudden trot, the Korean inflections.
No, because
like how Olivia went Yubin for her name.
But trot because if I say trot singer, people who don't know, they're
know.
like, are you a horse?
Trot.
Yes, are you trotting along while you're singing?
All right, that's true.
Right.
So trot or trot singer Kim Ho-jung, he has been booked by the police without detention for failing to take proper action after a traffic incident in a very convoluted eyebrow-raising case. So what happened with the accident itself? On May 9th around 11:40 p.m., his vehicle crossed over the yellow line and crashed into a taxi on the opposite side.
Yes.
I say crash, but I wonder if you can see the visual.
Oh, yeah.
His, it seems like an SUV. His larger vehicle literally just kind of went over the taxi, like a
I don't even know what to
speed
call
bump.
that.
It's something. So an accident happened.
Yes.
But the thing is, that vehicle just drove off without the driver getting out and taking the necessary action.
Definitely hit and run.
Constituting a hit and run.
Right.
But then about 3 hours later, so 2 a.m. the following day, Kim Ho-jung's manager turns himself in to the police, saying that he's the one who was behind the wheels. The police, however, questioned the manager given that vehicle was registered under Kim's name. And then the manager later confessed that he had lied and confessed Kim was the one driving. But the thing is, the manager came into the station wearing Kim Ho-jung's clothes that he was wearing at the time of the accident. So 17 hours after the accident, Kim Ho-jung responds to the police summons.
Okay.
He then, of course, tested negative on the breathalyzer test.
Obviously.
Because that's what happens in 17 hours. It has been reported that Kim visited a bar in Gangnam right before the accident, but he claims, along with his agent, that he didn't consume alcohol.
Like, we've heard before.
Many times.
We didn't inhale, right?
Yeah.
It seems that others from his agency are trying to take responsibility for this incident. I mean, if you're going to show up in the same clothing.
Over to, so his agency, Senggak Entertainment CEO Lee Kwang-duk, who's also a close friend. They say they're family, but I don't know if they're actually family or like family.
Okay.
Anyways, he told News One in an interview that he is the one who told his manager to turn himself in. So the CEO kind of ordered or told him and told another manager to reportedly remove the memory card from the black box or dashboard camera, saying that he also told the police about this as well. And he also claims that Kim experienced a serious panic attack after the accident and therefore made this improper action to leave the scene without taking action. So the police investigation is ongoing. We'll definitely find out more and report back to you. But then he also Kim Ho-jung has a concert scheduled for later this month. And despite the controversy, the insider from the concert venue said that the show will go on.
Really?
As planned, yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll definitely follow up on
That's the
on
news,
that one.
yeah.
All right, that's a doozy. Yesterday was Teachers' Day, and we have nothing but appreciation for teachers, but there is this story that we have to talk about.
A high school teacher was caught allegedly skimming off ingredients from the school meals and selling them on secondhand platforms.
A double ugh.
This happened in Iksan. He or she has been siphoning off various items. We're talking about jars of jam, noodles, fish sauce, milk, posting them about at least on 30 different occasions on the sales platforms.
Wow.
And according to an official from the school cited by MBN, the school is a boarding school and they provide all 3 meals, but the ingredients come very early in the morning when there's no one there to oversee the unloading. And that's how they were able to, skim some off.
Well, how did they get caught?
Well, this is kind of genius. So from one rice cake product, karetok, so the teacher posted this product online. By the way, 3 kilograms out of the 9 kilogram batch that I received, that's a third. Well, but also posted a sticker with the manufacturer's name. But the manufacturer noticed this. And then the thing is, they only sell to schools.
Oh, gosh.
So they were like, wait, red flag, which is what prompted them to check. The teacher apparently only sold things through they did transaction through unmanned parcel delivery windows. So, fending off any possibility that they might run into parents or something. And that's how they were able to do this for such a long time.
Yes.
Well, he or she is under audit by the Education Ministry, and disciplinary action will follow.
That just leaves such a, and no pun intended, bad taste in your mouth.
Right. And you're a teacher. You're an educator.
Right.
For goodness
and
sakes.
I could never imagine taking something from school and selling it
Right.
at a second. I mean, they mark
Do
everything.
I drink 2 stick coffees if I'm tired? Yes.
Right, but that's out for.
But I don't sell it.
Okay, next up, pop-up stores. Really popular these days, but because of their temporary nature, they do tend to create a lot of waste too.
Right, short story, but this is something to think about. So some neighborhoods like Seongsu-dong in Seoul, they're hot spots for pop-up stores, and they are like the trend nowadays, ranging from well-known brands, designers to idol groups. But then if you look around, step outside, and around them, the surrounding areas are covered with piles of construction material from the previous pop-up store or ones upcoming. And the thing is, it's hard to recycle or reuse construction material. And they range from like putting up temporary walls to counter space. And that leads me to think, do they really have to build the entire thing from the ground up? Why can't they use the structure and just change what's on the counter? Because that's just my 2 cents. Well, citizens say that the brand should also consider the environmental impact. I mean, ESG is such a big part of many brands, but it obviously doesn't filter through every single aspect. So yeah, definitely something to consider.
Right, and that is something I noticed, like in the States, if you move into a rental space, like you try to make use of what's there and then you add to the interior. But here it's just like rip everything out and then build it out again. So anyhow, now we're going to get to our topic du jour, names. Specifically, the most popular names in the U.S. So let's hear them.
All right, and this is according to the U.S. Social Security Administration, the top baby names for 2023. Top 10 for boys. I'm going to wrap this, so take notes. Liam, Noah, Oliver, James, Elijah, Mateo.
Love it.
Theodore, Henry, Lucas, and William.
I love all those names. Oh, William.
Hello.
William, San Francisco William.
All right, and for girls,
yes.
Olivia, Emma, Charlotte, Amelia, Sophia, Mia, lots of us, Isabella, Ava, my goodness, Evelyn, and Luna.
Yes.
All pretty names.
I always tell my English learning students, basically, if it ends in an A or like a, not always, but like a vowel.
A vowel? It sounds
usually a female name, usually.
That's true.
Yes,
and because
not
that
always.
comes from the Latin tradition of usually like O's and boys' names and A's. And anyways, some notable changes, because this list is fairly conservative in that it really doesn't change. But Mateo made it onto the list for the first time
Instead
ever.
of Matthew.
Instead of Matthew. And that's the thing. And this is actually a demographical change linked to a growing Latino population, and this being a boy's name in the States. And people are starting to really reflect their heritage onto baby names instead of going with the more anglicized Matthew. And then also there's like a linguistic connotation with it too. So the name Mateo ends in an O, which is a vowel, and apparently it has a friendlier and more accessible tone than Matthew, which ends in a W. So yeah, and also the names with P endings or O endings are popular these days.
Apparently. What other factors play a role in names?
Pop culture. So, of course, Liam and Olivia. And I did see a huge uprise in Olivia after Scandal became like the #1 show in the States, like Olivia Pope. And also, of course, it has to be, how that character or the social media influencer is pursued. Speaking of which, Kaylee, but spelled Kaeli, was the fastest rising girl's name last year. And that is a very unlikely spelling for that name, jumping to number 678 in the rankings. And the Social Security Administration admitted this. A particular social media influencer inspired the trend. Kaylee McEwen, or Kaylee May, she's a lifestyle influencer on all the platforms. And it seems that parents are reflecting that.
Okay.
Alitzel, Alitzel, from a popular Spanish language TikTok that featured Native American names, and that was at the top of that list.
Okay.
Bowie's name, chosen, CHOZEN, skyrocketed. That's the name of the hero with a Z in the latest season of the show Cobra Kai. So pop culture plays a role.
What about here in Korea, though? I want to know.
Korea, definitely clear trends. You're going to see the same syllable over and over again. For boys, 민준, and I wonder if that's from 별에서 온 당신, 도민준 씨. 서준, they could be
my
siblings.
nephew's name.
They could be siblings, 민준 and 서준. 도윤, 예준, and 시우.
Yes.
And I think a given like daycare class has like a handful of these at all times.
Very
Girls,
common.
서연, 서윤, 지우, 서현, and 하윤.
A lot of saws.
A lot of saws, a lot of yuns.
Oh, you're in the...
Well, that's my last name.
Last name,
yeah.
Yes. Interesting to hear about names. But thank you so much for going over all the hot issues. We'll check in with you tomorrow.
See you in a bit.
Everybody, this was Haley. And by the way, for our text topic, real quick, because 고수 says, 저는 뭐죠? Like, I didn't forget you. I was really thinking of a good name for you. You might not like it. People are changing everything on the board. I like Henry. The reason why, not only was it on the top 10 list, Henry means house ruler, ruler of the house. 가장 으로서 좋은 역할을 하길 바랍니다. Henry, I love that name. My first crush was a Henry as well. All right, and here is your traffic and weather. It is now 8:17, and this is your updated traffic. There is a vehicle that is broken down on the Dongso overpass going away from the city by Munhyun interchange. It's also backed up on Mandokdaero from Sukdung intersection to Deokcheon intersection. Also, we have it being really slow on Jungwangdaero from Songgong three-way intersection to Yangjong intersection. It's 12 degrees. It's going to go up to 23. In the morning, yes, definitely a little chillier than yesterday. However, the sun will peek out later in the afternoon. And this was your traffic and weather. And this is It's My Life by Bon Jovi.
This ain't a song for the broken-hearted. A silent prayer for faith departed. I ain't gonna be just a face in the crowd. You're gonna hear my voice when I shout it out loud. It's my life, it's now or never. I ain't gonna live forever. I just wanna live when I'm alive. It's my life. My heart is like an open highway. Like Franklin said, I did it my way. I just wanna live when I'm alive. It's my life. This is for ones who stood their ground. For Tommy and Gina, who never backed down. Tomorrow's getting harder, make no mistake. Look, ain't even look, you gotta make your own breaks. It's my life, and it's now or never. I ain't gonna live forever.
Welcome back. Yes, a bit of Bon Jovi for you before we get into our special interviews. And I love the fact that you, the listeners, the waivers out there, are chiming in on the naming of people. And it's been a pleasure naming some of you. And by the way, it's for fun. It doesn't mean you have to use a name. And some of you are going against the grain. I see like some people want to like the name Dwight, which is pretty rare these days. Not such, I mean, it is a common name, but not so much in terms of naming people these days. I also see Muir coming up. That's a very unique name as well. And 고수님, you're okay with the Henry? Okay, good. Because did I tell you? I just told you right before the song. My first crush as a little kid was on a boy named Henry. He's so cute. Yes. Anyhow, so I love that name. It always stuck with me. But the meaning is really good. A ruler of your home, house ruler. So that's why I thought it would be perfect for you. All right. We're going to get to our first of two special interviews. Waivers, if you remember, during his presidential campaign, former U.S. President Donald Trump mentioned that, South Korea has taken away many of America's industries. We just talked about this the other day, and I was kind of not so happy with those comments. And basically claiming that Korea is earning enough money to pay for a defense cost for the U.S. military. And he also stated that there were, 42,000 plus troops stationed here, when we obviously know that is not true. Anyhow, let's break down the situation and let's go through his statements. And maybe if there's any response to any of this, we have invited back to the airwaves Professor Kim Byung-ju, former diplomat and affiliate professor at Hankuk University of Foreign Studies. Welcome back, Professor. How are you?
Oh, very good. Thank you. Good morning.
Yes. So, first of all, why do you think Donald Trump is making these, to me, kind of outrageous statements that are easily fact-checkable? What do you think?
Yeah. Outrageous statement first, and then why. Let's break that question down to two parts.
Okay.
Why is it outrageous? Yes, he's wrong about the number of troops stationed here for sure. And then another really important fact is that he's been saying that Korea is not paying enough and so on. And the fact is, in order to station U.S. troops here in Korea, the overall cost that we need altogether, South Korean government is paying half of it, and the U.S. government is paying half of it. It has been that way for a while.
Yes.
And what happened was during his tenure at that time as the United States President, Trump pressed for 5 times increase of what Korea was paying. And so what that means is when Korea is paying half of the cost already, if Korea increases that 5 times, the other half will be covered. And then there will be 4 times as much that Korea is, as much of what Korea is currently paying. There will be a profit being made by the United States. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes. So if Korea increases it 5 times, one time, the twice as much increase will cover entire cost, and then additional 4 times increase will be actually profit that goes into the pocket of the United States. So that's a hugely misleading claim that he has made. And then actually inside the United States, there are so many different kinds of criticisms against that argument. One of them was President Trump is trying to make U.S. Army a mercenary, a profit-making army that's ready to commit the lives of young Americans, and then Trump is trying to make a profit out of it.
Right.
And so that was very, very outrageous statement indeed. And we are saying if he comes back to the office, he didn't succeed. There was much opposition from inside the U.S. government, so-called establishment elites that have been running the U.S. government, and they were saying, this doesn't make sense. Actually, the last defense minister of the Trump administration, when he was asked, did you know the basis upon which Trump was coming up with the 5 times increase? And he said, I don't know. He said, he didn't say it didn't make sense, but he said, I don't know. So basically, there was a considerable kind of implicit opposition within inside Trump government. So he didn't fail. He didn't succeed. And so he couldn't make his promise true, but come true. But the thing is, when he comes back, they're saying he'll ask for, again, 5 times or 6 times increase. So that's a real concern. Now, the second part of the question, why is he doing it? Actually, what he's doing is entirely consistent with his overall directional policies. For one thing, MAGA is very something that we are very familiar with, making America great again.
Sure.
In his 5-time speech at the UN General Assembly every year that takes place in the fall in UN in New York, heads of states come and they make a statement. And as the United States president, Trump did so every year during his time. And every year he was saying, we are going to make America great again. So you countries, allies of the United States, try to make your countries great again. You're on your own. The things have changed and you're on your own and try to focus on making your own country great again. That's what we are going to do. So basically, in that line of thinking, he's been very loudly complaining. European allies, Germany and many of the NATO allies, they haven't been paying enough. They're saying they're not even paying, enough of spending enough money to defend themselves. So it's outrageous, doesn't make sense. And he was going very, very strong against European allies. So as a part of that argument, he has been saying, South Korea should pay more for its defense. And just like as a former real estate business person, he was just asking for outrageous price. At the beginning of the negotiation.
Right. And Professor, I do want to ask you this, though. The South Korean government hasn't responded in any which way to this or these statements made by Trump?
Not that I know of, and then I don't think it makes sense to make a statement against a political candidate who's running for an election in the United States. That's domestic political affairs, and foreign government coming out to make a statement about what a candidate is saying is not something that's expected, actually. Yes. Instead, we know as we speak, there's a dialogue going on between Biden government and Yoon government about, deciding how much Korea will pay in coming years in terms of paying for U.S. troops being stationed in the United States, with the hope that what they agree will stick. And even if Trump comes into the office, the agreement between the two countries will stick. My own personal view is I don't think that's going to work. Trump will find his way to overturn it and probably do something in the way that he wants. So that's best effort being made by the Yoon government and Biden government at this time, as we speak. But I don't think that's going to really stick. And the communication between embassy and the Trump party, some people wonder, again, in the same line that I made earlier, embassy talking with the political presidential candidate, that's not really desirable. We're not aware what kind of things are happening under the surface, but active communication, reaching out, getting to know people is very important, but we shouldn't expect anything, solid coming out of that comes.
Right. And so to wrap up our discussion today, Professor, how will this impact diplomatic relations between, South Korea and the U.S.? Will this affect things at all, or will it be more the status quo? Yes, Trump is saying something. On the other hand, Biden's still in power, at least for now, and things are going to continue the way they are.
Well, I think, remaining in times of Biden administration, and there's an equal chance that Biden may be coming back as well. So it's a very intricate play that South Korea government is engaged. And so we have to make sure that we are prepared for Biden government coming back as well as Trump coming back. So it's half and half chance. That's something we should definitely keep in mind. And in terms of the ties and relationship, fundamentally, even if Trump comes back, I think will actually work out in the long run for the better for South Korea's national interest. Because in international relations theory, if you ask anyone who teaches diplomacy and international relations theory, one firm iron law is countries are responsible for protecting themselves on their own, fundamentally speaking. And so we do like the current system where the United States is defending South Korea with its nuclear weapons.
Yes.
That's not permanent. We know democracies change and people like Trump could come back and everything. Ultimately, in the long run, what South Korea needs is its own full capability to defend itself with any kind of weapons that may be necessary in facing North Korea's nuclear weapons. So this may act as a kind of driver for South Korea to act early, quickly, soon enough, to build its own capability to defend itself. So I think in the long run, it could actually work out positively for the interest of South Korea, the way I see.
I see. Well, on behalf of all of our listeners, there are so many comments coming in thanking you for your expertise on all things that matter in this regard. Thank you so much for joining us today. We do appreciate it.
Thank you, as always.
This was Professor Kim Byung-ju once again, and as you waivers are saying, very clear and succinct about his opinion on these political and worldly matters. So that was our first interview. I'll be back with our second interview.
You're now listening to the world's most reliable morning show, Morning Wave in Busan with Catherine. Text in to BEFM #9050 for 101. You can also reach us for free through our YouTube live stream or on Kakao Talk. Begin your morning with Catherine, and don't forget to reboot your day after lunch. Stay tuned for Steve Hatherley Reboot every day from 2 to 4 p.m.
All right, this is our second special interview today. We're going to focus on something that's been kind of trending right now. We're talking about 저속 노화 밥, anti-aging rice. I mean, among the MZ generation, apparently this has been trending for the last couple of months. And, this may be a reflection of the theory that went around saying that, this generation was aging more rapidly than previous ones. This is also quite the switch up from the ones trending like things like maratang and tanghuru, things that we know are notoriously bad for our health. We even talked about it with our expert that we've invited back. So let's find out more about this. We have Dr. Alice Tan, who is an internist at Seoul Miss Mary Hospital, on the line with us. Hi, Dr. Tan. How are you?
Hello, good morning. I'm doing well.
Yes, great. So can we talk about this trend, this 저속 노화밥, this so-called anti-aging rice? Like, how did it come about, and what do you think inspired the popularity of this?
Well, there's a certain professor from Asan Hospital here in Seoul who recommended a certain ratio of grains and legumes in rice that was found to cause a slower rise in blood sugar after ingestion compared to regular plain white rice. And once this news hit the Korean media, including sort of foodie or nutrition-based talk shows, it sort of took off as a food trend in our country.
Yes. And can we get the makeup of what this is, of this 저속 노화밥? What exactly is this, and how is it different from multigrain rice like 잡곡밥?
Right. So there is a certain ratio of grains and one legume. So it's the combination of lentils, oats, brown rice, and white rice. And the ratio is 4 to 2 to 2 to 2. Okay. It's a very specific recipe. Lentils, for people who may not be familiar, they're a type of legume. They look like a very small bean that are low in fat and relatively high in fiber and protein. Oats, likewise, have a good balance of protein, carbohydrates, and fiber and fat. And then brown rice, of course, is a fiber powerhouse. And this combination of grains and legume gives a balanced amino acid content. So amino acids are the building blocks of protein, and it also prevents constipation. And in one bowl, this so-called slow aging rice provides a nutritional punch that's really above its weight class. And compared to other, you asked about other multigrain rice.
Right.
So it's just this specific combination in that ratio that happened to be studied. But other multigrain rice combinations, say brown rice with black rice, with other grains, whole grains mixed in. I mean, they don't have the data, but they're also good combinations that you can take in with high nutritional content.
Right. And it's like we hear about these, like 잡곡밥 is good for you, and then lately I've been sticking with the 현미밥, the brown rice. And it's if you look at let's say for example even white rice and brown rice, looking at the caloric differences or contrasting them, not that big of a difference in terms of the calorie count, but what can you tell us? What are the differences? How is one grain or legume, different from another?
Right. So white rice is white because the outer coating, the bran coating, has been stripped off.
Yes.
But that bran coating is what provides fiber and some other nutrients.
Yes.
And fiber is very important for maintaining regularity. If you have a low fiber diet, that can be a cause for constipation. And so having brown rice helps with digestion in terms of maintaining regularity, but also it's the carbohydrate portion. So the white rice portion of the brown rice, that's what causes sort of spikes in sugars. And that coating, the brown rice coating, will decrease the speed at which the carbohydrates are absorbed into our system. So it kind of, instead of having a fast rising high peak of blood sugar after a meal, it kind of flattens that peak.
So that's really interesting to know, and that's good to know for us as we make our choices. Now, if we had to ask your advice on dietary choices, such as consuming this type of 저속노화밥, can this contribute to long-term health and even disease prevention? What do you think?
Right. So according to studies done on this specific ratio of rice, as long as you're having it in conjunction with vegetable-based side dishes and small quantities of animal protein, such as fish, the diet was found to decrease edema and, as I mentioned, prevent a spike in blood sugar after meals. And so this could be helpful in preventing chronic diseases such as diabetes, high blood pressure, and even dementia. And of course, these chronic diseases are the hallmarks of aging in many modern societies. But, rather than focusing on a single food that, I don't think there's ever been a single food that's been found to be the panacea for all diseases. But there are certain dietary patterns, certainly, that have been found to be healthier than others. And I think it might be easier for people to think, first of all, what should I avoid?
Yes.
So avoid ultra-processed foods, such as packaged snacks, ice cream, sugary breakfast cereals. These will cause spikes in blood sugar, but they've also been found to cause changes in brain hormones that regulate satiety or a sense of fullness. On the other hand, if you have a diet that's based on whole natural foods that are high in fiber, high in lean protein and complex carbohydrates over simple sugars, they can deliver balanced nutrition, meaning a good combination of vitamins, minerals, protein, fiber, and carbs that support metabolism and growth without causing excess calories and spikes in blood sugar. So it's rather than just one food, focusing on one food, you need to get sort of a balance in nutrition, but it should be based on whole foods and whole grains.
Right. If I can squeeze in a question, Dr. Dunn, because people are so scared of carbs. When they hear the word carbohydrates, people get like, antsy. Like, oh, this is going to make me gain weight or I'm going to bulk up. But I mean, not all carbs are bad. There are definitely good carbs, aren't there?
Yes, of course. I mean, so this is what I'm talking about. You need a balanced diet, including complex carbohydrates. So we have simple carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates. Simple carbohydrates are sort of based on simple sugars. So anything that's a sugary snack is going to be a simple carbohydrate. I would say those are the carbs to avoid because usually they're just full of calories, but low in nutritional value. But if you have complex carbohydrates, like what we mentioned, the brown rice or whole grains, they have a lot of nutritional value. They add fiber to your diet. And most people, we get a lot of enjoyment in our food from carbohydrates. So if you eliminate all of the carbs, sometimes the food will not be so enjoyable. And, the psychological part of aspect of our diet is very important. We can't ignore it.
Yes.
So I encourage all of my patients to find a diet, sort of combination that gives them pleasure, that they enjoy eating, because that's the only diet that's going to be sustainable. And what I tell my patients, especially those who are trying to lose weight, is it wasn't a diet. It wasn't a weight gain diet that got you to your current weight. It was a lifestyle. And so it's the same. You should not rely on a specific, short-term diet to help you lose the weight. It has to be a lifestyle. It has to be a dietary pattern that you enjoy, because that's the only diet that's going to be sustainable. And, we have to eat every day and we have to eat for the rest of our lives. So getting to a pattern of eating that's healthier, that will promote weight loss, and give you all of the nutrition and psychological enjoyment that we need from our food, that's going to be the healthy alternative.
Well, thank you so much for shedding light on this latest trend, but of course, giving us the facts as we should know them overall. Thank you so much, Dr. Dan.
Thank you.
All right, this was Dr. Alice Dunn once again talking about not just the tosok dohaba, this slow aging or anti-aging rice, but just really finding the good balance that we need in our everyday eating habits. I'll be back in just a moment. It's time for City Insights. We have Haeyeon here. Hello.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. So I'm excited to get into our City Insights.
Let's jump into it.
Okay.
So I spoke with author and comic book artist Ryan Estrada. Some of our longtime BFM listeners will recognize his name. He's a prolific writer who's created several novels and comic books. And one of them is the graphic novel Banned Book Club that was published 4 years ago. And it's been garnering acclaim as one of the best books of the year by NPR, the New York Public Library, and many other places.
Wow. So what is this book about, Banned Book Club?
Yeah, so Banned Book Club is based on a true story of Ryan's wife, Kim Hyun-suk, about being hunted by the police for joining an illegal underground reading club at Changwon University in 1983.
Wow.
Now, this was due to the military dictatorship of Chun Doo-hwan at the time, and when they controlled access to information by creating a list of banned books. So after Hyun-suk shared about this experience, they decided to co-write this book together.
Right. I hear that this book is facing requests to be banned from a handful of libraries and schools in the U.S. Is that true?
Yes. So in an ironic turn of events, Ryan's book about 1980s college students trying to share and read banned books is asking to be banned in American libraries.
Irony.
So let's hear Ryan talk more about this.
There have been several different places where it's been temporarily banned, and we've gotten it back on the shelves. But in Florida and Kentucky and a few other places, there are political groups in the U.S. that are kind of, history is repeating itself and the same things are happening. And they're just attacking hundreds of books per month, usually about history, about, queer representation, about, people of color. And these books are being removed from shelves. And this has become one of the ones that they've targeted. There have been several books about Korean history that have come under the chopping block. Books by Kumsuk Jendri Kim, who does books like Grass, the Colors of the Wind series. A lot of books about Korean history are being attacked.
Yeah, so banning books can definitely be a first step to more dangerous and oppressive things. But just like the Korean students in the 1980s and earlier who stood up for their freedom to read, there are people like educators and librarians in the U.S., librarians, fighting back and working hard to try to get those books back on the shelves.
Sure. Plans for a sequel?
Yes, the sequel to the book is titled No Rules Tonight, and it's planning to be published this fall. In the next clip, Ryan's going to tell us what this book is about. Let's have a listen.
It is more stories from Hyunsuk, a lot of the things that we couldn't fit into Banned Book Club. And it centers around the curfew that used to exist. Many listeners will know in Korea during the 70s and 80s, where if you were out after midnight, you'd be put in a jail cell. And because the curfew was started by American soldiers, one of the few exceptions was December 24th. Some people celebrated Christmas, but a lot of people didn't have any traditions associated with it. So it became the one night where you could be free and do anything you wanted. And so it's a story about that one night and what do you do with that night. So yeah, the reason it's in the news this week is because we are doing an exhibition of all of the original art from the book. I illustrated this book myself. The pages are gigantic. They're like a foot tall because there's so many characters and details I had to fit in.
Yeah.
So I'm going to exhibit all of them in one room where you can walk through the graphic novel and see the original pencil marks and ink.
Yeah, so the exhibition Ryan was just talking about with all of the artwork from No Rules Tonight will be on May 18th. That's the day after tomorrow, this Saturday, at the Centum City Busan Cultural Content Center. And it's free too, so I think it would be fun to stop by a while if you're going to stop by at the Busan Global Gathering.
Yes, sounds good. So go definitely check that out. And if you're interested, read his book. Let's go to our second insight.
So the second insight comes from the director of the 자갈치 Theater Company, or 극단 자갈치, Ms. 홍순연. And she shared about the history and the legacy behind 마당극. Yeah.
So definitely, I think some of us are familiar with the 마당놀이 with stories like 심청전 and also 춘향전, right?
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. So here's Ms. 홍순연 breaking down the genre of 마당극 for us. Let's take a listen now.
말 그대로 마당과 극의 결합이라고 보시면 되는데요. 그것은 하나의 형식이라고 볼 수 있겠고요. 단순한 물리적 그런 결합도 되겠지만 그것보다 마당이 가지는 의미와 밀접하게 관계가 있습니다. 마당은 열린 공간입니다. 집의 구조에서 봤을 때 말입니다. 그래서 기존의 무대와 객석의 구분이 없는 데서 시작되었다고 볼 수 있는데요. 또한 관객의 시선과 노는 사람의 시선이 일치합니다. 또한 관객은 한 곳을 보는 것이 아니라 연희자도 보고 관객도 같이 볼 수 있는 그런 구조이죠. 그것의 의미는 평등의 보편적인 가치의 실현과 연대와 공감의 의미를 강화하는 중요한 요소라고 볼 수 있습니다. 그것이 저희들의 극단의 방향성이자 마당극의 출발 이념이라고 할까요? 그런 놀이판은 기존의 전통 연희에서 있어왔던 달춤이나 놀이판에서 있어왔던 전통 연행에서 출발했다고 볼 수 있습니다.
Yes, so she shared that 마당극 is a genre of Korean traditional theater that usually takes place in outdoor arenas like the marketplace or in town squares, and it combines forms of folk entertainment like 탈춤, tightrope dancing, 판소리, 풍물. And since there's no separation in this setting between the performers and the audience, there's a sense of equality and solidarity that are important pillars of the foundation of 마당극.
Yes.
And her theater company 극단 자갈치's direction and philosophy behind 마당극 takes root in these very traditions. Also, this year is special because it marks the 50th anniversary of the 마당극 movement. And throughout the last 5 decades, it's also served the role of speaking truth to our society to express resistance, whether it was against dictatorship or social inequality.
Yes, and I hear they had a performance last week dealing with the Gwangju Democratic Uprising. Is that correct? Yes.
So it was a one-woman show titled 환생굿 in the form of 마당극 about this woman janitor who passed away during the Gwangju Uprising. She said it was a story about remembering and how our future is often shaped by the memories, how we view those memories now. And through the theme of reincarnation, it delved into the importance of untold stories that need to be told and heard.
Right.
And she also shared that because the theater company dealt with various themes of social issues, back in the day, they used to get visits from the local police department. So detectives would come by and check out what kind of projects they're working on, of course, for the purpose of censorship.
Yes.
So again, similar to the book bans that Ryan was talking about, the power of art in books, I think, is so important and amazing when it comes to speaking truth to power.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's like you have choices. I mean, you can enjoy the art, you can enjoy said books, or you don't have to.
Yeah.
But when there's censorship involved, that's when it becomes problematic. It can be problematic because then you're taking choices away from people, right? The freedom to choose.
So information should be available for all of us.
Right. Well, I do want to thank you for bringing us two meaningful city insights, and we'll check in with you soon. Thank you so much, Han.
All right, have a good day, everyone.
All right, everybody. Well, today has been, a dizzy of a day. We talked about so many various issues, but also names. What's in a name? So some of you have been asking me through our Kakao Talk, what does your name mean? So Catherine actually comes, it's from Greece, and it means pure. And apparently it comes from this Greek word katharos is how it goes. The story goes. And there are so many variations on my name, though, I have to say. I spell it with a K, Katherine. I shorten it. Most of my friends and acquaintances call me Kat, K-A-T, though not C. But, C, that's more of the European or English British spelling. They go with a C, and there are so many variations of how to spell the rest of the name. And like Caitlin, Kathleen, Katie, those are all variations that come from Catherine. So for those of you who wanted to know, yes, there you go. Once again, I want 장명비 주세요. Right now, what can you do? You can click on like, thumbs up, and also subscribe to our BFM channel. So thank you for, of course, listening and chiming in. And I have to say, oh my goodness, you guys were so excited about all the naming. And you know what? For the names, just be you, right? Don't go with a fancy name or, I have to have this fancy English name. If you like what I gave you, use it. If not, just be you. Go with whatever you have. All right. 행복의 주문 by 커피 소년 is our final song. And I'll check in with you guys tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
행복해져라 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 우울한 사람도 지친 사람들도 행복해져라 행복해져라 행복해져라
줄게요 카운터 줄게요 어렵지 않아요 단순하긴 해도 힘이 될 거예요 행복의 주문 하나 둘셋 행복해져라 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 우울한 사람도 지친 사람들도 행복해져라 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 우울한 사람도 지친 사람들도 행복해져라 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 버스에서 택시에서 자가용안에서 주방에서 혹은 야근하고 있나요 모습 떠난 사무실에 홀로 앉아 한숨 쉬면 늦게까지 끙끙대나요 사랑은 언제 해봤는지 외로움에 답답함에 우도 그냥 버텨내나요 내 속삭임으로 행복의 주문 걸어 그대만 밝혀줄게요